Welcome in, everybody. This is Pucks on the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And a happy Labor Day weekend to everybody out there. I hope you're able to enjoy this beautiful weather we're having over this weekend. And just a lovely one here where I live in Maine. So I hope everybody is out there and enjoying the final remnants of summer. And I know that Labor Day is kind of that unofficial end to the summer season, and that can get kind of some people in that depressive type mode, but not me, not me. It just means we're one step closer to hockey. We're now facing no months without hockey until I guess next July. So that's pretty cool. Definitely happy about that. We're going to talk about Tampa Bay today. We're going to give them a good look and a season preview for them. Before we do, it has been a few days since I've been on with you, and of course, we had just the awful, awful tragedy that struck the hockey world a couple days ago with the passing of Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Gaudreau. Bike accident, everybody knows, and just there's really no words to put behind it. I was actually going to release this podcast a couple days ago and just felt, out of respect for it, just hold off and wait. But yeah, there's just no words. My heart just sunk when I heard the news, and um, my heart certainly goes out to their families, to those teammates, to those close friends. They're all losing some very very important men in their lives, and um, just tough. Again, little little unsure as to what to say when you talk about it, but I will be praying for the Gaudreau family and all those affected by this. And so, how do we transition from that to hockey? I guess we're going to give it a shot. um, Yesterday, we did have a little bit of news out of Boston as well. Tyler Johnson, forward from Chicago, does sign a PTO, professional tryout, with the Bruins. He played in 67 games last season, had a line of 17 goals, 14 assists for 31 points. Two-time Cup winner back in those Tampa days. I think honestly, if he's able to make the team, he could be a really good get for the Bruins. A veteran who can play center, who has a bit of a scoring touch. Not bad at all. This should certainly make for what was already going to be a competitive camp for Boston with a number of forwards already in the mix. Johnson's just going to add more competition to that. So be curious to see how that goes. All right, moving on to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Head coach John Cooper. He has coached in 879 regular season games, has a 525, 279, and 75 record. That's good for a 640 winning percentage. Just awesome. Playoff record, 150 games coached with an 87 and 63 record. Good for 580 winning percentage. Two Stanley Cups, of course, and has only missed the playoffs in two seasons where he's been behind the bench, back in 2012, 2013 when he took over mid-year, and in 2016, 2017. So just a model of consistency, just one of the best coaches, in the league, and good for him. Salary cap wise, pretty tight. We knew this going into the year for them; they would probably be pretty tight. $730,000 left under the cap, and they have still one active roster spot open for the team. So they'll have to do a little maneuvering to get them to 23 active roster spots, and see how it goes for them. We knew this was going to be the case for this team coming into the year. No first round pick to talk about. Been, of course, trading those picks throughout this cup run that they've had over these past few years. So no first rounder this season. And when we go back to 23-24, they had a record of 45, 29, and 8. Good for 98 points and fourth in the Atlantic. So probably a little bit down from where they had been. They do lose in that first round to the Florida Panthers. A 5-game series, I believe it was. And not a surprise. I kind of thought Florida would win that series. Kind of hope that Tampa would have pushed them a little bit further, maybe to a game six or game seven. But we don't always get what we want, do we? Sure don't. When you look at the team stats, it really tells a good story for the team last season. Fifth in the league in goals for on average per game at a 3.51. Goals against was a 3.26, 22nd in the league. We'll talk about some reasons for that here in a moment. They were a plus 21 in the goal differential. Power play, number one in the league. Still a very, very scary power play. They were 28.6%. Not a team that you wanted to give too many penalties away to. Their PK was fifth in the league at 83.3, and their face-off winning percentage was 51.8. Good for ninth. So top 10, four out of those five categories, and that typically puts you into the playoff mix. Talking about their core skaters, these are all very familiar household names if you're a hockey fan, starting with Nikita Kucherov. Wonderful season, just a monster season for him. 81 games played, had 44 goals, 100 assists for a 144-point season. Just phenomenal. Braden Point played in 81 games, had 46 goals, 44 assists for 90 points. Forward Brandon Hagel, 82 games played, 26 goals, 49 assists for 75 points. And of course, bounce back year, I would say, for Victor Hedman. Defenseman had 78 games played, 13 goals, 63 assists for 76 points. So stud, 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 stud. It's kind of how Tampa rolls. They have a fairly stacked team up top. Goaltending, Andre Vasilevsky. We all know he missed the first 20 games of the season, had the injury and the surgery right there before the season started, but still was able to get into 52 games with a 30-20-2 record, 2.90 goals against, and a 900 save percentage. So probably a little bit down, based on his standards, but still a very effective year for himself. Jonas Johansson was kind of the de facto starter there at the beginning of the year. 26 games played. He had a 12-7-5 record, 3.37 goals against, and an 890 save percentage there for him. So he, did good enough to keep them around, keep them competitive. Thought he did kind of yeoman's work to keep them going. Matt Tompkins also got into 6 games there earlier in the year, I believe. Had a 3-2-1 record, 3.33 goals against, and 892 save percentage. We get into the changes on this team, and oh boy, were there a few changes. Yeah, I got Tampa a little bit riled up, I think, this summer. I want to start with the good. Uh, Forward Jake Guentzel comes over from Carolina. Played in 67 games, and that's, of course, between Pittsburgh and Carolina. Had 30 goals, 47 assists for 77 points. Defenseman JJ Mosier comes over along with forward Cam Atkinson from Philadelphia. And then, of course, old friend defenseman Ryan McDonough comes back over from Nashville. Key departures, and there were a number of them. Defenseman Mikhail Sergachev off to Utah. Forward Tanner Jeannot. Center and captain Steven Stamkos to Nashville. We'll certainly talk about that one in a moment. Defenseman Matt Dumba and forward Anthony Duclair both were trade deadline gets, both out the door. Defenseman Calvin DeHaan and forward Tyler Mott. So a fairly significant list moving on. This would be such a different look on the ice without their longtime captain out there. Stamkos brought so much more than just his goal scoring. His leadership on and off the ice will definitely be felt, and it's going to be a big blow to the team. Yeah, there are other leaders in the room, guys like Hedman, guys like Point, but Stammer's loss will be felt. No question about it in my mind from that leadership and culture type of perspective. As it goes with teams that win a cup, and in this case, 2 cups, you simply cannot keep everyone around. The salary cap just doesn't work that way. Roster erosion is often expected after putting a number of successful seasons together, and the Lightning have begun facing that problem. You can't pay everyone. It just can't. Now, I believe that we started to see this last year in the overall depth of the roster, and I think you'll continue to see it this year. Their top and talent will be amazing, as always, but I doubt you'll see that kind of four-line depth that you saw during those cup runs. Despite losing Stamkos, Guentzel is a great get for this team. And while I may not fully agree with the team essentially choosing Jake over Stamkos, I can find a logical path forward as to why they did it. Guentzel is younger and is one of the better goal scoring wings in the league. His game does seem to translate wherever he goes. He's fit in seamlessly in Carolina, and I believe it'll be the same in Tampa. And if you're a Lightning fan, You just hope that he gets off to a quick start. Because if not, and this team struggles out the gate, you already know what those bluebirds will be throwing at Jake. Quite honestly, it's all going to be his fault that Stammer's not here anymore. So you just hope he can get off to a good start. The team can get off to a good start and just kind of put that noise behind you a little bit. Um, this team will continue to score and will continue to be scary on the power play. There's no question in my mind about that. The top line depth is one of the best in the league. I think you probably very easily could have 40 goal scorers on this team. The only question is, it's only one puck, to go around. So, who's going to get fed, right? Defensively, I absolutely hate the loss of Sergachev. I just do. I know you bring back McDonough and you add Mosier. Sergachev was a beast out there, and he's still only 26 years old. You forget about that. He feels like he's been around forever. He's only 26. That's a really good get for Utah, in my opinion. If there's a weak spot on this team, I do believe it'll be with this defensive unit overall. Top pairings will be fine, but the depth could be a problem as the season goes on. To his standards, moving off to goaltending, Vasi had a down year, but he battled back through the injury and surgery and put together an overall solid season. He's another player who seems to be around forever, but he's still just 30 years old and plenty of quality hockey in front of him. One silver lining, in my opinion, of this team having to play without him last year is that they had to learn to play without him. They had to figure that out. They hadn't had to do that in quite some time. Sometimes teams have to shift their approach or their aggressiveness when playing with a different netminder out there. And for the first part of the season, that was the case. So I was actually really impressed with how the team played without him. They had a 9-6-5 record. Vasi staying healthy will be wildly important for the team. And if he does, I do expect his numbers to bounce back a bit closer to his typical standard. I still don't see any changes coming for this Atlantic Division playoff picture. I believe the same four will be in. Your Floridas, your Bostons, your Torontos, your Tampas. I'm just not sure the order yet. This Tampa Bay team doesn't necessarily need to have home ice to win the division. Um, and even without their captain in tow, they have a lot of winning experience in the room and will prove to be tough, tough, tough again this season. Uh, So I do feel like they are squarely in the playoff picture. They're hanging out at the Green Dragon with the Hobbits, and again, will probably be a tough outcome April. So, guys, that's what we have for Tampa. Kind of a quicker one today. I do appreciate you all listening. I do want to just announce that tomorrow we will be launching my first episode on the Mariners Hockey Report show, which is at the Black and Gold Productions YouTube channel. I'll certainly leave some information down below about that, but that's going to get released tomorrow. Looking forward to getting that season off and running as well here for the East Coast Hockey League Bruins affiliate. But thank you all for watching. Really do appreciate all the love, all the support. And if you do like what you're hearing, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.